All right. Sit back, buckle up, and brace yourselves. This is Chennai Live 104.8, India's first and only digital talk station. Today, my friends, is a very, very powerful show. Why do we call it powerful? Because I think it's got a lot to do with the power of the common man. You know, படத்துல சொல்லுவாங்க never underestimate the power of the common man. Election time சொல்லுவாங்க, do you know how powerful the common man is? Do you know how powerful that little finger of yours can be? They also said, during the cricket matches, common man, public oda support எவ்வளோ முக்கியம் இருக்கு. Release of a blockbuster movie, we say, மக்களுக்காக தான் it's got that 100 crores. These are occasions. These are celebrations. These are moments. But do you also know that every day the power of the common man is not being used? It is being used by somebody else. It is being misused by people who should not be using it. We talk about this because with me is the founder and the convener of a very interesting civil society movement. Now, this is a anti-corruption NGO. That's a very interesting tagline. We'll talk to him from Arapur Iyakam in the year of 2015, which started off. I have with me Mr. Jairam. Vanakkam and welcome, sir. How are you?
Vanakkam, I'm very good. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, but I'm very excited. When we have someone who says, "Iniki na unmai pesa pore," today I am going to speak my heart for the people, we get excited because lies and selfish attitude வந்து நிறைய இருக்கு சார். இங்க selfless is a very, very rare phenomenon. But Mr. Jairam, before we start off, இது கொஞ்சம் ஸ்ட்ரேஞ்சா இருக்கு. Anti-corruption NGO. சில்ட்ரன் என்ஜிஓ படிச்சிருக்கேன், எஜுகேஷனுக்காக என்ஜிஓ, எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட்காக, ஹவுசிங்காக, விமன் எம்பவர்மெண்ட்காக. இது சடனாக அங்கே வருது ஆன்டி கரப்ஷன் என்ஜிஓ, நான் கவர்மெண்ட் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் ஃபைட்டிங் அகேன்ஸ்ட் த கவர்மெண்ட் பட் சர்டிஃபைட் பை த கவர்மெண்ட். இது என்ன மாதிரி ஒரு கவர்மெண்ட் சார்? வாட் இஸ் ஆன்டி கரப்ஷன் என்ஜிஓ அண்ட் வை டிட் யூ ஸ்டார்ட் ஆஃப்?
In fact, a lot of people ask us, anti-corruption NGO, are you against the government? No. அப்படின்னா அப்போ கவர்மெண்ட்டோட பாலிசி கரப்ஷனா? ஸோ தட் இஸ் த கொஸ்டின். ஸோ த பாலிசி ஆஃப் த கவர்மெண்ட் இஸ் ஆல்சோ ஆன்டி கரப்ஷன். ஸோ விச் மீன்ஸ் நாங்கள் வந்து வென் வி ஸ்டார்டட் ஆஃப் த ஹோல் திஸ் மூமெண்ட் வாஸ் ஸ்டார்டட் ஆஃப் பை எ குரூப் ஆஃப் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் whom we met at different points of time and all that. எல்லார்கிட்டையும் இருக்கிறது என்னென்ன ஒரு ஆங்கர். இன்றைக்கி சொசைட்டியில் வந்து எங்கே பார்த்தாலும் லஞ்சம் இருக்குது, எங்கே பார்த்தாலும் ஊழல் இருக்குது, வாட் கேன் வி டூ அண்ட் ஸோ ஆன். அண்ட் ஸோ வென் வி ஸ்டார்ட் டுகெதர் வி தாட் தட் வி ஹேவ் டு டூ சம்திங் கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்டிவ் ஆஸ் அ மூமெண்ட். It's very important to sit together and do some channelizing our energy and spend our time to solve public issues, solve issues of corruption and so on. And that's not something ஒரு ஷார்ட் டைம்ல இன்னைக்கு பண்ணா நாளைக்கு படத்துல வர மாதிரி நாளைக்கெல்லாம் ரெவல்யூஷன்,
ஒரு நாள்ல சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர், 2 நாள்ல பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர் and 3rd டேல வந்து நியூ இந்தியா, அந்த மாதிரி
இல்ல. See, in this country was founded on certain principles, on the principle of equality, liberty, fraternity. இப்போ இந்த மாதிரிலாம் இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த பிரின்சிபல்ஸ் வந்து இட்ஸ் அ ட்ரீம் ஃபார் our country. அந்த ட்ரீம் அச்சீவ் பண்ணுறது 70-75 இயர்ஸ் ஆகியும் கூட we have not achieved. It's going to be a long time. And as citizens we think it is our duty. நம்ம டியூட்டியாக இதை நினச்சி our ஜென்ரேஷன்ஸ்க்கு நம்ம பண்ணிகிட்டே இருந்தால் தான் நாளைக்கு மேபி நெக்ஸ்ட் ஜென்ரேஷன் வரும்போது they will carry forward. So we thought it's our democratic duty to work towards a just and equitable society, which is the goal of the constitution. So அரப்பூருக்கு தனியாக கோல் இருக்கானா, அரப்பூருக்கு தனியாக கோல் கிடையாது. We thought the goal of the constitution should be the goal of our organization as well. So அப்படி தான் வந்து this movement was started in August of 2015 by a group of people. And then over time we have worked on several issues. We started with anti-corruption specifically, and anti-corruption was the common agenda of all the founders who met and all that. And then we had worked on different civic issuesல work பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம். நிறைய rights based like right to information மாதிரி, and then water bodies restoration, public health, when government hospitals or quality improve பண்றது.
RTI, the Right to Information Act வந்து was passed in India quite a few years back. We don't understand it. We don't know how to claim our rights. We don't know if we have a problem. It's not Twitter. It's not Instagram. It's not one story. It's not one post. There is a way to get the right information and not spread rumors. What is RTI? How can the power of the people be used for the construction or the betterment of our cities, sir?
Yeah. So, ஒரு country-யோட development, we strongly feel that it is there in increasing the powers of the common man. And one such tool of increasing the power of a common man is right to information. In fact, when this came, people say that this is like MPs have slept in the parliament, and that's why this act came into force. Yeah. So because they didn't know what is the power of this. If they had actually known the power of this, parliament
not have been passed.
And
it's the only time all parties have been together, sir.
Yes. So, but behind this, there were a lot of struggles as well for this act to come. இதோடைய பவர் என்னன்னா, டுடே எனி சிட்டிசன் கேன் ஆக்சஸ் எனி இன்ஃபர்மேஷன். இன்றைக்கி ஒரு ரோடு உங்கள் வீட்டை விட்டு வெளியே வந்தீங்கன்னா யூ ஆர் சீயிங் அ ரோட், அண்ட் ரோடு சரியாக போட மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. இஸ் அ காமன் கம்ப்ளைண்ட் தட் பீப்புள் வில் சே. ஆனால் அதில் என்ன சரியில்லை, 5 சென்டிமீட்டர் போட வேண்டிய தாருக்கு பதில் 2 சென்டிமீட்டர் 3 சென்டிமீட்டர் தான் போட்டிருக்கிறாங்க இஸ் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன். அன்லெஸ் யூ நோ அவங்க 5 சென்டிமீட்டர் ஆஃப் தார் போடணும் இல்லை 6 சென்டிமீட்டர் ஆஃப் தார் போடணும் as இன்ஃபர்மேஷன், யூ வில் நாட் பி ஏபிள் டு கொஸ்டின். இன்றைக்கி நம்மளுடைய ஃபண்டமெண்டல் ரைட்ஸ், ஃப்ரீடம் ஆஃப் ஸ்பீச் அண்ட் எக்ஸ்பிரஷனை நீங்கள் எக்ஸிபிட் பண்ணணுன்னாலே அன்லெஸ் யூ ஹாவ் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் உங்களால் சரியாக எக்ஸிபிட் பண்ண முடியாது அப்படிங்கிறது தான். அண்ட் தட் இஸ் வை திஸ் ரைட் டு இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் வாஸ் brought அண்டர் ஃப்ரீடம் ஆஃப் ஸ்பீச் அண்ட் எக்ஸ்பிரஷன் இன் our கான்ஸ்டியூஷன். அப்போ அந்த மாதிரி இன்றைக்கி அந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷனோட when you question, when you ask answers from the government, then there is a higher possibility of solving that public issue. So அதனால் இன்றைக்கி அந்த மாதிரி நாங்கள் ரைட் டு இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை யூஸ் பண்ணி நிறைய பப்ளிக் இஷ்யூஸில் we have accessed information and based on that question the government, and immediately they are அது ஒரு dead end மாதிரி. They can't
are they liable to give you the answer that you ask for?
Definitely. The act mandates that they have to give within 30 days.
Who do I go to? Common man ka RTI oda full form theriyum. Okay, that's a very nice word, RTI, like outfit of the day, TD and madri. Where do I go? Website irka, or office irka, or mail ID irka. I want information. ஏன்னா இங்கே முன்னாடி 5 meters in front of me, Anna flyover is one of the biggest scams in our city. 150 meters behind me is amongst the greatest scams in our country, the Chennai Metro. And maybe 150, 200 meters on the right is a scam that people don't even know, called the Chennai Smart City Limited. The Smart City of Pondicherry, people don't even realize the amount of money that's going every month on maintenance. They don't realize it because they don't ask. Where do we ask? Where do we get the answers? Where do we confirm that this is the truth, this is the false, this is service, or this is a scam? Where do we realize it? How do we go?
So, in fact, you don't need to go to any office. So if it's a central government department, you can just go to this website rtaonline.gov.in and then create a username, password, and then you can just file a RTI. If it's the state government, you can just do a registered post. You know how to file how to do a leave letter in school. So it's the same format. You just have a from to. In the from, you put your name and address. Tool every department has a public information officer. So you don't need to know the name of that person. Public information officer and then the department name and address. This is where you have to send. And in the body of the letter, you just need to say what are the questions that you have. You just list it as a bullet point one by one and sign it and send it by a registered post. You just keep a Xerox with yourself so that you have it for your records. So they have to reply back within 30 days with the answer. In case they don't do that, then there is an appeal process. And all that, if people have any questions, they can always reach out to us to know the appeal process and so on.
Tell me one thing, sir. Have we reached a point where the government is ready to listen to the people? Today, the people are ready to express themselves. And more than problem raising, there's also problem solving. Irka, sir?
I think to some extent it has improved, because of the invent of the social media and other things as well. Citizens have started expressing themselves on social media widely and so on. But unfortunately, that alone will not give them solution. Social media is a place where you can just crib about issues that you have.
Just voice out. Not solve.
Solve. அப்போ சால்வ் பண்ணணுன்னா யூ ஹாவ் டு ஹாவ் அ ப்ராப்பர் சிஸ்டம் வித்தின் ஈச் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட். உதாரணத்துக்கு இன்றைக்கி சென்னை கார்பரேஷன் எடுத்துக்கிட்டிங்கன்னா தே ஹாவ் அ நம்ம சென்னை ஆப் where you can record your grievances with photos and all that, and their system is that within 48 hours they have to respond, they have to solve that issue and put it there. Otherwise it will have to escalate to the next level officer and so on. So இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சிஸ்டம் இருக்கும்போது இன்றைக்கி சிட்டிசன்ஸ் மத்தியில் என்னென்னா ஒரு பயம், நான் கம்ப்ளைண்ட் பண்ணாலே ஆள் வந்து என்ன அடிச்சிருவாங்களோ, வில் பீப்புள் கம் அண்ட் பீட் மீ. இட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் தட். So first of all, citizens have to get into the habit of registering a return complaint. It is just through this app or by calling 1913 number. They have to register the complaint, and then following up, there will be officials who will be sincere, who may solve it. There will be officials who are not so sincere, who are lethargic and so on. And so there will be, and there are issues where it is not in his control. It will be an issue of corruption involving the councillor and so on, so where they will not solve. So therefore, other next stage is where RTI comes. First, you have to register a complaint, and if there is no action on the complaint, then you can use the power of RTI. You can use RTI to file with the government seeking what is the action that has been taken on my complaint. So when you ask that question, before answering to your question, they'll be forced to at least solve the issue and then answer to you. So there are different ways in a democracy in which you can express yourself. In a democracy, gives us plenty of ways. Many people think protest is the only way. Protest is probably the last thing that we will have to do. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி we have to collect information, we have to complain. So in fact, இன்னைக்கு corruption complaintsலாம் எடுத்தீங்க, இந்த மாதிரி நடக்கக்கூடியதெல்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, we collect information before even complaining. ஏன்னா with proper information complain பண்ணும்போது, then the government doesn't have ways to find excuses. It will have to solve the issueன்ற மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்டேஜுக்கு அவங்கள வந்து நம்ம தள்ளுறோம். So I think these are ways in which citizens can innovate, do things, and also spend some time. Of course, இன்னைக்கு வேலைக்கு போகிறோம், மிஷின் மாதிரி ஒரு லைஃப் லீட் பண்ணுறாங்க எல்லாரும் நிறைய பேர். பட் for your society, for your road, for your community, it's a few hours probably every week. If you start spending, I think that is also addictive. Once you start doing it, people will find it that this is something that I want to do for my community, and they continue to do that habit. இன்னைக்கு நிறைய youngsters along with us are doing that. There is a person who started learning about it. Today he has crossed some 500 complaints and all that over the last few years.
Today the achievement is how many complaints? இன்னைக்கு நான் வந்து 2 complaint போட்டேன்டா. Good data. Very good. Okay, so I think it's constructive.
Yes.
We're not talking about simply coming and destructing, not talking about simply finding negative faults. Today, sir, what's going on around us? People are very, very comfortable saying these are the bad things going on. This is what's happening is wrong. Before we go into the scams that you have uncovered, the scams that you smell there is corruption in, we can smell a lot probably. But before that, sir, let's talk a bit about the role or the positive impact the government has on the people. Today, what do you see has changed? Maybe 10 years back, 20 years back, this wasn't there for the people. Today it's there, but we are not valuing it. அப்படி என்னதான் இருக்கு நம்ம சுத்தி, நம்ம சென்னையில, தமிழ்நாடுல, இல்ல இந்தியால வந்து that it's become better for us. We don't realize it. அப்படி என்ன இருக்கு சார்?
There are a lot of things. As I said, first thing is, the power of information. I think the power of information is very, very crucial. As I said, right to information. அதுக்கு பிறகு இந்த power of complaining. இன்னைக்கு நிறைய departments have online complaining mechanism where you can complain, get a complaint number, follow it up. There are lots of departments that has put it online. Of course, there is still delay, there is still seeking bribe and all that. But it has improved over time. For example, இன்னைக்கு பர்த் சர்டிஃபிகேட் நீங்கள் சென்னையில் வந்து ஒரு குழந்தைக்கு பர்த் சர்டிஃபிகேட் பண்ணணும்னா லஞ்சம் இல்லாமல் you are able to get birth certificate ங்கிற சிச்சுவேஷனும் has come. So I think over time இந்த citizens-உடைய ப்ரெஷர்னால, citizens-உடைய seeking accountability-னால step by step improvement will happen. And ultimately citizens have to start believing that if you start working towards it, திங்ஸ் வில் சேஞ்ச் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அந்த சேஞ்சை தான் நம்ம வந்து இந்த மாதிரி டிஃப்ரெண்ட் வழியில் பார்க்குறோம் அப்படின்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். இன்றைக்கி கவர்மெண்ட்ஸ் ஆர் ஃபோர்ஸ் டு புட் அவுட் திங்ஸ். இப்போ இன்றைக்கி மழை பெஞ்சதுன்னா நாங்கள் இமீடியட்டாக வந்துட்டு தே ஆர் ரியாக்டிங் சேயிங் தட் நாங்கள் இது பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம், அது பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம். வேர் இஸ் திஸ் ப்ரெஷர் ஆஃப் தெம் கம்மிங் பேக் அண்ட் சேயிங் ஹேஸ் ஹேப்பன்? அதெல்லாம் வந்து பிகாஸ் சிட்டிசன்ஸ் ஹவ் ஸ்டார்டட் questioning, putting it out on social media,
watching, they are seeing, they are discussing.
Correct. So அதெல்லாம் வந்து I think things have changed. 20 years back, no, when the politician wouldn't even worry about it. Whatever the statement he or she comes and makes on media, we will just have to watch it. Today, that's not the case.
So, since 2015, you have raised certain issues. Up to today, you have raised many big issues, sir. I want to understand, you found the issue, you spoke about it. What happened to it? Did you solve that entire problem, or you solved just that case, or you just made people aware? Let's start with the scams that you actually found out pretty early. Ration scams. That was something that you all brought out. Tell me about it, sir. What happened? What was going on? And what have you solved, sir?
See, this ration scam is specific to procurement of dal, sugar and palm oil in ration shops. நமக்கு ரேஷன் கடையில் தெரியும், இன்றைக்கி போய் நீங்கள் நின்னீங்கன்னா ரேஷன் கடையில் கிடைக்கக்கூடிய இந்த பொருள்கள் யாரோ ஒரு ப்ரைவேட் ஃபார்ம் கிட்டேருந்து கவர்மெண்ட் ப்ரொக்யூர்ஸ். நவ் அந்த ப்ரொக்யூர்மெண்ட்டில் வி ஃபவுண்ட் அ ஹியூஜ் ஸ்கேம். இன்றைக்கி வந்து ரேஷன் கடையில் போயிட்டு மக்கள் போய் நிற்கிறாங்கன்னா தே ஹாவ் அ ரேஷன் கார்டு which says 1 kg sugar, 2 kg dal, whatever, right? Now that is your entitlement. If you go on the first day, you should get it. If you go on the 30th day also, you should get it. But unfortunately, that is not the case. First weekலியே அடிச்சுக்கிற சுச்சுவேஷன் தான் நிறைய இடங்களில் இருக்குது. And that is because of the rampant corruption that happens within the department. So அது நாங்கள் வந்து one of the things that we worked on is in the procurement of sugar, dal. இதில் அதில் என்ன கண்டுபிடிச்சோன்னா, there is one firm that they wanted to favor. So அந்த one firm கிறிஸ்டி குரூப் ஆஃப் கம்பெனிஸ்னு அந்த கம்பெனிக்கு ஃபேவர் பண்ணுறதுக்காக வாட் தே டிட் வாஸ், அது வரைக்கும் போட்டி போட்டுட்டு இருந்த 15 சப்ளையர்ஸை தே கிக்ட் அவுட் by increasing the turnover condition from almost 3 crores to 30 crores. And to get this company inside, they said dal supply பண்ண எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இருக்குன்னு அவசியம் இல்லை, ஏதாவது ஒரு ஃபுட் ப்ராடக்ட் சப்ளை பண்ண எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இருந்தால் போதும். ஸோ தே brought in. Of course you can bring in many more companies, competition increase பண்ணலாம். But when you limit other people, what happened is it created a monopoly. So one
favor for one
person. And then market ரேட்டுக்கு வாங்கிட்டு இருந்த dal, it started increasing. Like at that point 2015 dal was procured for 45 rupees when the market rate was also 45 rupees. In 2021 for example, the market rate of dal was 90 rupees wholesale rate of dal. The company gave a quotation of 146 rupees. So you can see the kind of difference that is there, right? So the entire thing நாங்கள் வந்து ஒவ்வொரு டெண்டரும் ஆர்டிஐயில் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் வாங்கி டாக்குமெண்ட் பண்ணி we came up with a very detailed press release and then complaint to the Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption. The enquiry is going on now. In fact, the High Court has said the enquiry should be completed within 6 months. But the positive part of it is once we brought this out, we told the government on May 17 that you see, in your government, this is the kind of scam that is happening. And then we asked them, you relax the tender conditions like 2015. They changed it back to 2015 when the new government came in. It was the first week. So I don't know whether they will listen today, but it was the first week. We said, the first week itself, you have a scam. And they cancelled the tender. They relaxed the tender conditions. And then they opened it again on May 26. The same firm, the firm which was in the monopoly, in the on May 5 they quoted a rate of 146 rupees. On May 26 they quoted a rate of 87 rupees per kg.
Lesser than the wholesale price.
Lesser than the wholesale price, because in the second time 9 people had participated. Because the tender conditions are relaxed, there is competition, they know that they have to quote the market rate or near market rate to get it. So in fact, that one tender itself, we saved 120 rupees. Over the last 2.5 years, we have been watching each of the tender. We have been raising issues. We would have saved at least 2,500 to 3,000 crores in this. Fantastic. This is one thing.
நீங்க ரோட்ல வந்து ஸ்கேம் இருக்கு, ரோட் லேயிங்ல ஸ்கேம் இருக்கு. இது வந்து every time a road is being laid, the chances of a scam is bigger and bigger and bigger. Tell me, what is this scam about and what did you do to solve it, sir?
This was right after 2015 floods. 2015 floods, when we went about an audit, one of the things that we found was that நிறைய இடத்துல ரோடோட ஹைட் has increased. வீடு கீழே இருக்கு. So flood water started entering the houses. So then we started looking at road height increase ஆகுது. Then when we looked at the IRC and other guidelines, it says you have to lay the road from subsurface. So you can't actually keep increasing the height of the road. ஸோ அப்போது நாங்கள் சடனாக எங்கள் வீட்டு பக்கத்தில் ஒரு ரோடு வந்து ஹைட் இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணாங்க. ஐ வெண்ட் வி ஆஸ் த கார்பரேஷன் ஏன் இந்த ஹைட் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு. ஸோ தென் தே செட் இல்லை நீங்கள் பார்க்கல, நாங்கள் 6 months முன்னாடியே மில்லிங் பண்ணிட்டோம், ரோடை எடுத்துகிட்டு தான் நாங்கள் போட்டிருக்கிறோம், இட் டஸ் நாட் இன்க்ரீஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. தென் செகண்ட் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி விட்டுட்டு செகண்ட் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி ஆல்சோ ஐ சா இன்னொரு ரோடு வந்து இந்த மாதிரி போட்டாங்க. நான் இதை பார்க்குறேன், மில்லிங் நீங்கள் பண்ணலை, கரெக்ட், நீங்கள் பார்த்தது கரெக்டு, அவங்க மில்லிங் பண்ணலை, தோண்டாமல் போட்டாங்க, நாங்கள் அந்த கான்ட்ராக்டருக்கு அவங்க தோண்டாததுக்கு we are not even paid a single paise, see this அப்படின்னாங்க கார்பரேஷனில். தென் ஐ வாஸ் ஷாக்ட். ஸோ வாட் இஸ் த மிஸ்டேக் தட் வி ஆர் டூயிங் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அப்போ ஆர்டிஐயில் வி ஸ்டார்ட் கலெக்டிங் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன், வி ஸ்டார்ட் ட்ரை டு ஃபைண்ட் வாட் இஸ் தேர் இதில். அப்போ தான் இட் வாஸ் அ ஷாக் ஃபார் அஸ். ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்லணும்னா, இப்போ ரோடை தோன்றதுக்கு லெட்ஸ் சே 100 rupees, ரோடை போடுறதுக்கு ஒரு 100 rupeesனு வச்சுக்கோங்க. ஸோ கார்பரேஷன் சேஸ் 200 rupees ஃபார் திஸ் அப்படின்னு. கான்ட்ராக்டர் கிவ்ஸ் அ கொட்டேஷன். எப்படின்னா, நான் ரோடு தோன்றதுக்கு 10 rupees, ரோடு போடுறதுக்கு 190 rupees, 190 plus 10, 200 rupees. Corporation says 200. I have also given a quotation of 200. Now tender is awarded to him at market rate. Now he doesn't mill the road. He doesn't தோன்றத விட்டுறாரு, ரோடை மட்டும் போடுறாரு. He gets a payment of 190 rupees. அப்போ தட்ஸ் வை த இன்ஜினியர் கம்ஸ் அண்ட் சேஸ், பாருங்க நாங்கள் ஒரு பைசா பே பண்ணல மில்லிங்க்கு, பட் ஹி ஹஸ் லாஸ்ட் only 10 rupees. ரைட்? இந்த மாதிரி ரொம்ப டெக்னிக்கலாக இந்த ஸ்கேம் பண்ணாங்க அப்படிங்கிறது பார்த்தோம். ஈவன் தோஸ் 10 rupees they did not leave. They said this contractor worked so well that he was that he was able to complete the 200 rupees work at 190 rupees. Therefore, for the rest of the 10 rupees that he has saved, instead of awarding a new tender, the nearby road also requires top patchwork, so we can pay the 10 rupees to him to do the top patchwork. So they paid the entire 200 rupees. So we brought this scam out, how this is being done. So on paper நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா 100 rupees க்கு போட வேண்டிய தார் is being done at 190 rupees. It's a 90% more than market rate is what is being done அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So that today almost it's at a charge sheet stage in the court. We have moved a legal case that has happened. But on the other side, we did a lot of awareness with the citizens. If the road is laid at your place, you come out and ask them why they are not milling it. And அந்த awareness 2019 நீங்க யார் கேட்டாலும் சொல்லுவாங்க 2019 தான் சென்னையில் மில்லிங் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. That is because of this huge pressure that was created by citizens. நிறைய இடத்துல வில்லிவாக்கம்ல முகப்பேரில் citizens started coming out and asking the government ஏன் மில்லிங் பண்ணலை. ஸோ ஒன்ஸ் நிறைய பிளேசஸில் கேட்க ஆரம்பித்தோன்னே அட்லீஸ்ட் ஒரு 60-70% பிளேசஸ்லேயே தான் அவங்க மில்லிங் பண்ண ஆரம்பித்தாங்க. 2021 this became a policy. Chief Secretary came up with an order saying that any road laid in Tamil Nadu anywhere, the government should not increase the height of the road. ஸோ அது டெண்டர் கண்டிஷன்லையும் அப்படி தான் இருக்கணும், இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன்லையும் அப்படி தான் இருக்கணும்னு சொல்லி it became a policy as well.
Has your family been threatened? Give me an honest answer. Give me an honest answer.
See, not even once I have received a phone call saying that you will be killed. Right?
But you will be hit.
No, see, once or twice people have warned me saying that, you know, there are talks going on and all that. We don't know whether it's a threat or is a friendly advice, right? So I really don't know. But point is,
you know, sir. You know. There are no friends in politics, sir. There is no friends in the game between lies and truth. Honesty and dishonesty, there is no friendship, sir.
Correct.
You are threatened.
Yeah, maybe.
By who?
Now, when we were doing this road scam, there was this then minister who was responsible for...
Named?
His name was Velumani. He had this commissioner of police who filed the series of cases against us. So at that point of time, I received a call from one person saying that there is something going on in those quarters. But now I can't really say whether the minister planned it, whether the PA planned it, or whether it even happened at all, right? So it would be very unfair for me to accuse them if I do. So I won't do that. But point is very simple. One is citizens have to come forward. See, threat இருக்கும், threat வந்துரும் அப்படின்னு பயந்துட்டு if you stay indoor, politicians are politicians. அவங்களுக்கு தெரியும் citizens கேள்வி கேட்குற வரைக்கும் நம்ம எவ்வளோ வேணாலும் we can ruthless-ஆக we can do corruption அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு, unless citizens come forward and start questioning, and that is when questioning is our right, answering is their duty.
We say, you know, this government is better than that or that is better than this. Each one has their own opinion. The inside story says the public is being fooled. You are thinking they are two separate parties. They're not. They might be sitting under the flag of two different parties, but they work with each other. They work for the protection of each other. They work for the production of each other. And at the end of it, it is the people who are fooled during the one season of election campaign. Tell me the truth, sir. You say you are already in the political side of life. Correct? You might not be in electoral politics, but you are in civil politics. Is it true that what we see is not real politics? What happens behind these closed quarters is something else. Is that true, sir?
Yeah, I think I seriously have experienced it, we must say.
Tell me,
over
what
the
did
last
you experience, sir?
For example, we have raised almost 20 corruption complaints of the previous government. And the current government has not even proceeded with many of the complaints. Primarily because there seems to be a very tacit understanding between the two in many of these cases. As we talk about the housing scam, the housing scam is of the previous government,
Correct.
wherein, in a place called KP Park where poor lives. Now the IIT Cube has given a report saying that for one bag of cement, instead of using 5 bags of sand, the contractor has used up to 15 bags of sand. And they have taken 75 samples. They have said more than 90% of the samples have failed. And you have the super check done by none other than IIT Cube and still not even an FIR. Not even FIR by the current government. So this shows how there is
Hand
an
in glove,
understanding,
yeah.
right, between the two. So there are several such examples that we can show.
Recently, you brought out an issue that spoke a lot about the land scam. And the value of Chennai's land. We say land is Mother Earth. And you are scamming your own mother by creating land scams. And this was of a different nature altogether. Tell me, how did you suspect it? What did you see? And what did you solve?
See, this was about a specific place, the Kathipara Junction in
course.
Chennai. It's a very famous junction. So right under that, right under Kathipara Junction, you have these different streets. That's called the St. Thomas Mount Village. And of late, we started hearing that there are a lot of government lands in this village, and that the government has not even put out the patta online for this village because there is a lot of scam going on in these lands. And so when we checked it, we were shocked. The சிட்டிசன் படத்தில் ஒரு இது வரும், அஜித் படத்தில் அத்திப்பட்டி அப்படின்னு ஒரு கிராமம், அத்திப்பட்டிங்கிற கிராமமே மேப்லேருந்து காணாமல் போச்சுன்னு. அந்த மாதிரி ஆன்லைன் வெப்சைட்டில் சென்னையில் எல்லா வில்லேஜும் இருக்குது. பட் திஸ் பரங்கிமலை வில்லேஜ் அலோன் இஸ் நாட் தேர். ஸோ தென் வி ஸ்டார்டட் கெட்டிங் த ஏ ரிஜிஸ்டர், ஊர்லேருந்து என்ன இருக்குது, இந்த பட்டாலாம் என்ன இருக்குது, என்னென்ன லேண்ட்ஸ்னு பார்க்கும்போது வி காட் ஆக்சஸ் டு ஒன் கீ இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் விச் இஸ் தட் லெட்டர் பை தாசில்தார் ஆலந்தூர் to sub-registrar saying that 36 survey numbers listed below are government lands and should not be registered. 2015. But right after that, we found a series of registration in the survey number. So one such property, for example, there is a property right opposite to Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption. And the gate thoranda edhirukku and building da paaka mudiyum. It's a State Bank of India building. State Bank of India is there on a government land paying rent to a private person because a private person has encroached the government land and leased it out to State Bank of India for a 5 lakh rent per month. And we were shocked to see this. அப்புறம் இன்னொரு land is like, you can't hear about in ஏக்கர் கணக்கிலலாம் நம்ம சென்னையில் கேட்டிருக்க மாட்டோம். But this is like 1 acre and 11,000 square feet of land. It's a big land. பட் ரோட்டில் இந்த எண்ட்லேருந்து அந்த எண்டு வரைக்கும். That land is again a government land. அதை என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கிறாங்க, ஒன் பர்சன் கேம் அண்ட் ரிஜிஸ்டர்ட் சேயிங் தட் இது எங்கள் தாத்தாவோட ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இன் 1937. ஸோ இது வந்து ஒரு உள்ளுக்குள்ளே ஒரு ஹானஸ்ட் அஃபிஷியல் இருந்துருக்காங்க போல இருக்கு. அவங்க என்ன பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, 2022 திரும்ப இன்னொரு ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷனுக்கு வரும்போது ஷி வெண்ட் அண்ட் செக்ட் இன் சைட் ரெக்கார்ட் ரூமில் போய் 1937 நிஜமாவே அவங்க தாத்தாக்கு தான் அந்த லேண்டான்னு சொல்லி அப்போ பார்க்கும்போது தான் ஷி ஃபவுண்ட் தட் the parent document, இப்போ we all have lands na, அதோடைய parent documents are very very important. நம்மகிட்டயும் ஒன்று இருக்கும், சப் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரார் ஆஃபீஸில் ரெக்கார்ட் ரூமில் ஒன்று இருக்கும். ஸோ when she went and checked, அந்த ரெக்கார்ட் ரூமில் இருந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி வந்து ஹஸ் பீன் ரீப்ளேஸ்ட் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஷி ஃபவுண்ட் 2 பேரண்ட் டாக்குமெண்ட்ஸ் ஒரே நம்பருக்கு. ஒன் வாஸ் பெரும்பாக்கத்தில் 4 சென்ஸ் லேண்ட், ஒன் வாஸ் இங்கே இந்த பட் ரோடோடைய ஒரு போலி டாக்குமெண்ட்டை வந்து ஷி ஃபவுண்ட். ஸோ ரெண்டுத்தையும் எடுத்து எது ஒரிஜினல் இதில் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பார்க்கும்போது அப்போ ஸ்கேன் பண்ணது ஏற்கனவே அவங்க ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி ஒரு கம்ப்யூட்டரில் வச்சுருக்கிறதெல்லாம் போய் பார்க்கும்போது தான் ஷி ஃபவுண்ட் அவுட் தட் இல்லை இது வந்து இட்ஸ் அ பெரும்பாக்கம் லேண்டை ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ணி பேரண்ட் டாக்குமெண்ட்டே ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கிறாங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஷி ஹேட் கம்ப்ளைண்ட். அதுக்கப்புறம் கவர்மெண்ட் உள்ளுக்குள்ளே ஆஃப்டர் ஆல் ப்ரெஷர் தே ஹவ் கேன்சல் தட் டாக்குமெண்ட். ஆனால் ஈவன் ஆஃப்டர் கேன்சலிங் no action was taken on the sub-registrar who actually registered it. No action, அந்த லேண்டை மீட்க கூட இல்லை. It is still in the private hands. Above, when all this came to us, we collected all this information. The 36 survey numbers, we took at least 10 survey numbers and checked each of them and put together and filed a detailed complaint on now, 21st November. Right after that, immediately the sub-registrar Uma was suspended. who had actually registered in 2020. So she was suspended. Immediately after that, a couple of days later, Collector Chengalpattu initiated an operation where he had now taken control over many of these lands. He has issued a notice to SBI. He has taken over that 1 acre, 11,000. See, now they are saying, government is saying for any infrastructure, we don't have lands, we don't have things, right? But you have so much of government lands which are being encroached by others. இது எப்படி ordinary citizens can find? நீங்களும் நானும் கண்டுபிடிக்க முடியும். Because today, it is there online. Encumbrance certificate you can find online. tnreginet.gov.in. You can get certified copies of documents. So, unga area la, if you have a public land, what you can do is you can cross check within different things. One, adula edha registration andirukka and survey number la. Rendavathu patta website la poitu, e-services revenue website la poitu, you can check adha patta la whether it's showing as a government land. Appo adu government land anga kaamikudhu ana adula registration andirukna, there is a fraud. That is how we cross matched and found this fraud. And then we went back. ஒரு 2-3 ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் பின்னாடி போச்சுன்னா நமக்கு தெரியும், அதுக்கு மேலே பேரண்ட் டாக்குமெண்ட்டே இருக்காது. அப்போது ஓகே, இவங்க வந்து இந்த மாதிரி கவர்மெண்ட் லேண்ட் எடுத்து பண்ணியிருக்கிறாங்கன்னு. இன்னொரு பெரிய காமெடி என்னென்னா, இந்த லேண்டை வச்சு ப்ரைவேட் பேங்க்ஸில் தே ஹவ் கவர்மெண்ட் லேண்டை அடமானம் வச்சு மார்ட்கேஜ் வச்சு தே ஹவ் காட் crores ஆஃப் மணி, 34 crores ஒரு லேண்டில் வந்து லோன் வாங்கியிருக்கிறாங்க. டுடே வி நோ யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ்க்கு வந்து ஆண்டர்பிரினர்ஸ்க்கு வந்து லோன் எவ்வளோ முக்கியம், கேபிட்டல் எவ்வளோ முக்கியம். ஒரு பிஸ்னஸ் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணணும்னா எவ்வளோ டஃப்பாக இருக்குது கொலேட்ரல் இல்லாமல் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. கொலேட்ரல் இல்லாமல் கிடைக்கிறது அவ்வளோ பெரிய விஷயம். பட் இங்கே வி ஆர் ஃபைண்டிங் கவர்மெண்ட் லேண்ட்ஸை போய் அடமானம் வச்சு 34 crores ஆஃப் மணி தே ஹவ் காட். ஸோ ஆல் தீஸ் வி ஹவ் புட் டுகெதர் அஸ் எ கம்ப்ளைண்ட். ஸோ ஆக்ஷன் ஹஸ் பீன் இனிஷியேட்டட். அட்லீஸ்ட் கவர்மெண்ட்ஸ் claim is that so far 500 crores of land has been recovered. Hopefully they will recover the rest as well.
I will ask you one question and give me the answer, sir. Have the people who have lost their probable land or money or gains or profits, have they approached you and said, "Konjo, relax, let's talk separately, let's talk and deal under the table"? If you say they have not approached you, you are lying to me, sir.
Definitely. Every scam after we expose, definitely they will approach us. They are approaching us. But we have it as a principle. Like udahanattukku, we don't need to be angry against them and shout at them and all that. We don't do that. What we do is we have a very simple strategy. We tell them, udahanattukku Ration scam, I spoke about that. That company person called me directly. Right? And he spoke to me. He said he wanted to meet me. I said, I can't meet you. See, whatever I have done is based on evidence. I have submitted to the Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption. When they call you for inquiry, whatever you have to say, you go and tell them. If you have, if you think that you are right, you go and tell them. So that is, you approach it legally. We are not interested in talking about this issue. So that is how we approach it. And after that, he at least, I think he must have approached 15 of my friends for a meeting.
And settlement.
Yeah, probably for a settlement or anything, right? So, but we are very careful. We basically say that, here, we are not here for any personal animosity against anyone. Making sure the public resources are protected is a duty of a citizen given to us in the Constitution. It's a fundamental duty that has been mentioned in the Constitution. So I think these are things that citizens must realize. So we are doing our duty. And I think there is, when they also feel, even the people whom we are affecting, they also know that the work that we do is genuine. We are doing it not for our personal gain, not for anyone's personal thing. This is a public issue.
There's
that we are
cause,
taking.
there's a
right?
purpose.
So Gandhi said once, Urvati, what he said was that British, it is not just enough that we fight the British non-violently and all that. It is also important that British genuinely feel that நாம் வந்து ஒரு ஜென்யூன் காஸ்க்காக ஃபைட் பண்ணுறோம் அப்படிங்கிறத அவங்க ரியலைஸ் பண்ணும்போது ஃப்ரீடம் கிடைக்கும்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஸோ ஐ திங்க் இட் இஸ் ஆல்சோ வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். இன்னைக்கு லாட் ஆஃப் பீப்புள் ஈவன் வித் இன் த கவர்மெண்ட் சிஸ்டம் knows that the cause is genuine for which we are fighting, and that is where we also get solutions because they take the complaints seriously, they take action on complaints that are sent and so on. And I think that is fundamental, and that is why it is also important for activists and other people to not exaggerate what you have. ஒரு 8 உண்மை இருக்கு உங்ககிட்ட, 2 பொய்யை சேர்த்துட்டீங்கன்னா அது ஒரு எக்ஸாஜரேஷன். இட் மே செல் பிகாஸ் மக்களுக்கு சென்சேஷனலிசம் ஆகும். பட் அல்டிமேட்லி த அதர் பர்சன் ஆன் த கவர்மெண்ட் சைட் நோஸ் தட் யூ ஆர் சேயிங் 2 lies, and that is going to cost you dearly.
And the 2 lie will take away your 8 truth of credibility.
Correct.
The electricity scam, is something that people are going to receive a shock when they get the real data. We've seen inflated bills. We've seen the cost of electricity going up in certain places. We've also seen subsidies coming from the government for few sectors. What is this electricity scam that's happening in Tamil Nadu that people don't understand, but they just keep getting the bills and paying it? They don't understand what's happening there. Where is it happening?
Right, it's right in our electricity board. We have what is called the TANGEDCO, for example. So they are responsible for generation and distribution. Now, what happens is that over you can see a transformer that basically steps down the voltage and all that, right? In the transformer procurement, we recently found a huge scam of 400 crores. எப்படி பண்ணாங்கன்னா ரொம்ப சிம்பிள். ஐ மீன் they call for 100 kVA, 500 kVA, இந்த மாதிரி different capacitiesல they call for tenders. What they did was that it was a e-tender where 25 to 30 people participated. They ensured collusion of all the 30 people. என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னா for example ஒரு 100 kVA transformer எடுத்தா the rate that they had quoted was some 4,79,000 and all that. And they finally procured it for 4,46,000. இதில் காமெடி என்னன்னா all the 33 contractors quoted the exact same price of 4,79,080. 500 kVA எடுத்தா 26 contractors, all of them who participated quoted the exact same rate of 13 lakhs something. Whereas the market rate, they quoted 13 lakhs for 500 kVA, the market rate was 7,87,000. So the way we proved it is different ways. One is we went to the other states. We got through RTIs, through online. Rajasthan procured it for 7,87,000 through a tender at the same point of time. And then there is this market rate in the GEM portal and other places where we took the rates as well. Then the Tamil Nadu Engineers Association itself releases market rates every year. And they had released a rate of 7,89,000. And in spite of that, the government had procured from all these people for 12,49,000. They had negotiated from 13,72,000. We have negotiated and brought it down to 12,49,000 is what they said. But then they distributed it equally to all the contractors. So all the 26 people, they say each of you supply 50. So all of them are happy. They made a lot of money, but the sufferers are the citizens because all these ends up in huge losses. Similarly, we had found out earlier, a coal import scam to the tune of 6,000 crores. A private purchasing power from private players. When the rate was just 2.5 rupees per unit, the government signed contracts for 4.8 rupees per unit. And all this has resulted in this huge loss in TANGEDCO of 1.5 lakh crores. That 1.5 lakh crore is not because of other inefficiencies. It's purely, mainly because, or primarily due to the corruption that is happening. And today, all this is placed on the citizens through tariff increase. And today we are facing this tariff increase because of the scams happening there. And we have been fighting to seek accountability in many of these things. There is at least one FIR that has been filed so far. We are fighting for FIRs and investigation.
Look at it from the common man's perspective. One individual or a group of people working together are filling up their pockets, and the common man's hard-earned money who struggles and thinks every time he switches on that light, switches on that fridge, switches on the TV, he's thinking about that meter for his family, for the comfort of his family, is now actually paying for all of that, sir.
Yes.
Which seems to be the most unfair.
And the conspiracy that happened, it was very interesting in this case. For example, the person who was in the tender committee, one person told me, if you find him in the TANGEDCO office, I will award you. I asked, then where will he be? He sits in the minister's house every day and does this fixing. And then we tracked him. We recorded a series of videos. We found every day, he's a middle level employee. He every day goes to the minister's house. So we recorded a series of videos.
Which one is that?
The Sindhil Balaji, who is right now in the jail. So he every day goes to his house and he sits there and fixes all these tenders. And we showed this how this entire nexus that is there between politician, official and contractor,
Vendors,
how this happens. And this entire thing has been documented right now. And of course, it's the same government, so we can't expect them to take action. They're not willing to take action. We will need to move the courts to file FIRs in this case.
I'm pretty sure when people listen to this today, they will open out their quarters or pegs or bottles and say, let's go to TASMAC. We need to just chill after this truth. But when they go to TASMAC, before they place their order, they ought to realize that itself is one of the government's greatest lies to the people. In 2019 came a word, a promise, the manifesto, stating that this government promises to ensure so many TASMACs are closed. Safety of the women, safety of the children, restriction of TASMACs. Today, the truth is that the license, liquor license, is given so easily to restaurants. The truth is that the menu card of TASMAC is being expanded. The power of the government, the greed of the government, and the bank balance of their individual is only increasing and increasing. TASMAC has become a virus, and maybe we don't have a vaccine for this. What is Tamil Nadu and TASMAC's great history that probably is dimming our future, sir? What is it?
Yeah, TASMAC is probably the biggest poverty creating scheme of Tamil Nadu, I must say. Because in 2003, this government, when it was in the private's hands, they were getting a revenue of around 3,500 crores. They said, we are going to have all the shops, and from then on, they have these shops left, right, and center, even in the villages. And today, the sales are
School
increased.
areas, temple areas,
Everywhere,
name it.
right? And so the revenue has increased from 3,500 crores all the way to more than 40,000 crores today. And see, this 12 times increase that we are seeing, it means that you have created a lot of addicts. You have multiplied the addiction levels by 12 times. It's not a rate increase. A rate increase may probably double the rate or triple the rate, that's all. But when it is 12 times, it means that you have made sure that in each and every village, bulk of the men are turned into addicts for TASMAC. Their productivity levels have come down. In fact, when we did a survey, we found that 1/3 of the men are already addicted to alcohol. They may say that prohibition doesn't work. There are a lot of research in the world that says prohibition doesn't work. Maybe. But there are also a lot of research in the world that says that if you decrease accessibility, your drinking, the alcoholism levels decrease as well. There are research reports in Australia, Finland, and many places. And you promised that you will bring down these TASMAC step by step. And, let us discuss when you get down to 500 shops, whether having 500 shops is better or, entire prohibition is better. But not at a stage when you have more than 5,000 shops. And by having these 5,000 shops, see, the effect on women, the social effect. See, there are three effects. Economic effect is also there, political effect is there, and then the social effect, right? The social effect, women, we found that in families where there are drinkers, 84% of the women gets beaten up. And in households where alcoholism is not there, it is roughly around 20% or so. So therefore, there is a big difference between physical assaults on women and children. There is also, with respect to the health cost, there is a huge health cost. We also found there is a huge productivity cost. For example, people today are not able to work more than 12 or 13 days in a month, people who are addicted. So when we calculated all this, the loss to the citizens comes to more than 70,000 crores. Whereas the revenue that the government gets through the tax is probably 36,000 crores. So if you look at a gain-loss thing, it's a huge loss for the citizens of this state. So, and even as an economic model, right? We know of economic models where taxing the rich and then giving to the poor. But this is a complete opposite model where you're taxing the poor. See, bulk of this revenue comes from the poor. You're taxing the poor in a big way, and then you are spending it you are claiming to spend it for the people, where again there are lots of leakages. So when it goes back, it doesn't go to the same amount, doesn't reach the poor.
Sir, what can we do?
I think the government must.
What can the common man do? Government government can only do, sir.
Yes.
Common man pananum.
See, there are different ways. In fact, unga area ஒரு டாஸ்மாக் ஷாப் இருந்தால் Justice Chandru has come up with a booklet. he closed when he was a judge, he came up with அந்த couple of cases where எப்படி வந்து டாஸ்மாக் ஷாப் அவங்க ஏரியாவில் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. அதுக்கு லீகலாக there are ways. One of the ways is that if you are in a locality, have citizens complain to the police station, file nuisance cases. When they are facing nuisance. அந்த மாதிரி nuisance நீங்கள் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணும்போது don't lie, but when there is a nuisance, go and file it in a police station, get a CSR done. அவங்க FIR போடுறாங்களோ இல்லையோ, CSR is even enough. அந்த மாதிரி once nuisance cases are there is a provision in law where public nuisance இருந்ததுன்னா then that establishment must be closed அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஹைகோர்ட்டில் 2010 there is an order. 2010 கேஸ் போட்டு 2012 there is an order. So you can use that in a legal way to close down the TASMAC shop in your area. This is the power of citizens that they can use to close TASMAC shops in their area.
People like you, it is your wonderful NGO that is going to make a big impact, and I want to thank you. And I must tell you one thing, whether it is a well-intentioned citizen of Chennai or whether it is Chennai Live, we stand with you to make your strong voice even louder, even wider, even more powerful. And just like you want to see Chennai to be a better, cleaner, happier city, we see the same, and we see it through your lens. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot for having me on the show, and hopefully this raises the awareness of many more citizens, and we want more and more active citizens to come out and do their job as well. Yeah, thank you.
This is Chennai Live, Radio Redefined.